Unafraid Show, Reister or Wrong. It's your boy George Reister in the building. You guys, we got a hot topic up for you guys today. Starting with my man Colin Kaepernick. A lot of people aren't necessarily happy about what's going on, but news broke today. We got two things on it. And then we got part of it is going to tail over into Matt Kuchar, the golfer, talking about character, standing up for what you believe in, principles, all these things. So here is where we're at. The NFL, the National Football League, the not for long league that said, mind you, even the commissioner, Roger Goodell, had the audacity at the Super Bowl to say, and I quote, hold on, let me pull up this quote the way I don't misquote Mr. Goodell. The actual quote was, I think if an NFL team decides that Colin Kaepernick or any other player can help their team win, then that's what they'll do. They want to win, and they make those decisions individually in the best interest of the club. So there were so many people out there that said, all right, Colin Kaepernick, he's not good enough, this and that, despite the actual empirical data of his last season, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, said that he's not good enough to be in the NFL. That made no sense, right? Obviously, that makes no sense. But the question is this. So then why today did Colin Kaepernick drop his collusion lawsuit? The same month that the final hearings were going on. So both sides have seen the evidence. Final hearings are getting ready to happen this month. And then Colin Kaepernick withdraws his lawsuit. Financial settlement involved, and there's a confidentiality agreement surrounding it. So it is clear that the NFL, they didn't pay Colin Kaepernick to go away and this lawsuit to be done because there was no evidence. No, Colin Kaepernick's lawyer said months ago that they had data and proof, and they wanted that check. They wanted the check to be able to come out the way they could, the way Colin Kaepernick would be made whole. Because when you got Joe Flacco, when you got Alex Smith, when you got all these other middle quarterbacks getting 40, 50, 60, $80 million throughout their career, and Colin Kaepernick's being blackballed, you had to break bread. You had to break open the piggy bank. So, yeah, and the deal's subject to a confidentiality agreement. So it's clear that he won. It's clear that there was collusion. It's clear that he was blackballed. And so there's some vindication in this. But there's another side of this. So the question is this. Like, I was looking at his situation, and I was like, all right, where does Colin Kaepernick really land in terms of not only where he lands in the NFL, but his place out in the world? Because this man got blackballed and now he got paid. And the biggest part about it is this. The reason why the NFL settled, people aren't talking about this. The reason why the NFL settled is because had they lost a collusion case, the NFL Players Association could have then gone in and voided the collective bargaining agreement. And if you don't know what the collective bargaining agreement is, it's an agreement between the NFL players and the NFL about the rules and regulations financially, how the money's split up and all of that. So if it's voided, then the players are going to come back, be in a power position to demand more money. They're going to be able to demand more health care. I mean, all of the things that the owners don't want to pay because their ass will be in a sling. The 2019 season would be in jeopardy. The NFL drafts coming up, the combine, all of these things. So the league does not want that happening at all. So they wanted to avoid that at all costs. And it probably cost them a pretty penny. I've seen anywhere in between $43 and $80 million. We won't truly know the true cost, but that's how much it costs for a collusion lawsuit to go away, which is a drop in the bucket for what it would have cost the NFL owners to have the CBA voided, because that would be an unmitigated disaster. Because in 2011, when the collective bargaining agreement was being done, there was a lockout, all of those things, and you would essentially have a strike or a lockout situation if the NFL players were able to void the CBA. That would be a monumental disaster for the league. And you talk about PR. The league would then be in another litigation with its players. And I've talked about that the litigation with the players is the biggest impediment to the NFL. Like, it's its biggest enemy. Because people don't like, obviously there are some people that don't like the players kneel, regardless of what they're kneeling for. There are players that don't like the situations with domestic violence. They don't like any of these things. But even bigger than all of that is the litigation with the league. People hate that. They don't want the league to be involved in litigation with their players. That is bad for business. That's what's actually bad for business. It's not just the fact that players are... it's not just the fact that players are kneeling or whatever. It's the fact that they're in litigation with their players. You guys are watching the Unafraid Show. George Reister here. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick today. You guys send in your comments, your questions, and I will get to them. Oh, and I want to talk about the so we'll come back to the collusion lawsuit, but there was another issue that came up with Colin Kaepernick. And this had to do with the AAF. The AAF is that new league that came out last weekend. It was really good. The football was good. And there were reports that Colin Kaepernick was offered to play in the AAF. And he said, no, he wants more than $20 million. So all the AAF players, if you don't know, all the AAF players are on a 3-year, I think, $250,000 contract. They said there are going to be no exceptions. Nobody's getting paid more, which makes sense for the AAF. And you had so much craziness from people saying, oh, well, if Colin Kaepernick really wants to play, why doesn't he just go in the AAF? Let me break this down for you. Colin Kaepernick is a professional NFL quarterback. He's proven it in the NFL. His last season, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Been to 2 NFC championship games and a Super Bowl recently in his career. I mean, come on now, bro. Like, what? Like, that's like asking Adrian Peterson to be off of a knee injury and then go play in the AAF. No. Why on earth would you do that when you've proven that you belong in the big leagues? And then the reality is everybody knows that they will then turn around and go and move the goalpost again. They will move the goalpost against Kaepernick again. They're not going to just like let that fly. They're not going to let that ride. Come on, man. They are going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that he does not play another down in the NFL. It's not happening. And now that the collusion lawsuit is settled, he's absolutely not going to play in the NFL again. This is a new league. The AAF is a new league. When you saw the games, what'd you see? You saw the defenses absolutely dominating the offenses in the AAF. That's what you saw. Quarterbacks getting pummeled. And if you're Colin Kaepernick, why the hell would you want to go there? You're going to be in a disadvantageous situation. You aren't going to have great receivers. The defense is way ahead of the offense. And it's only a situation that's set up for failure. Like, there's no way that you can be successful in that situation, no matter how talented you are. Not even if you stuck Brady in the AAF. First of all, he wouldn't have Belichick. And then the second thing is, when you watch Brady play and he actually gets hit and pressure, what happens? He doesn't play well. Same thing with any other quarterback, including Kaepernick. And then the other reason why Kaepernick has no business taking an NFL job, a job in the AAF, is because the NFL is a job. It's not a career. You guys swipe up, share the feed, tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. It takes years off your life. And you're going to sign up for $250,000 when you already got a job? Yeah, no. And here is where I want to take this to. Is there's power in saying no out in life, out in the world. There's power in saying that. what was it, yesterday, the day before, we heard all these stories about Matt Kuchar's caddy. The guy, Matt Kuchar, paid the caddy. They had an agreement for $3,000 for the tournament. He paid him $5,000 on his $1.3 million winnings. And caddies usually get 5% of winnings and 10% if they're like a traveling caddy, they go with you everywhere. So everybody, and then Kuchar offered him $15,000. The guy said no. So my question is, why on earth was Kuchar's caddy applauded for saying no and standing up for his principles and not taking a deal, not taking a bad deal, not just taking what people would give you? So that's the question. Why would, like, Kuchar's caddy was applauded for that. So why on earth would Colin Kaepernick be vilified or say that this man doesn't want to work because he's not taking your bad deal? Really think about that. Consider that he doesn't want to take the NFL's bad deal, and people are saying that he doesn't want to work. How on earth does that make sense? Talking about Colin Kaepernick doesn't want to work because he's not taking the NFL's bad deal. But you applauded Matt Kuchar's caddy. When something is wrong, you are supposed to stand up for it. You are supposed to get paid your worth. I mean, we all have had situations, like, especially if you're a freelance person, maybe people who work W-2 jobs don't fully understand this. But if you are a 1099 person or a freelance person, and your going rate is, let's say, $50 an hour, and somebody offers you $5 an hour, are you going to take that job? No, you're not going to take that job. It's the same thing with Kaepernick. Like, the expectations are unrealistic. People want to move the goalposts. They want to say, oh, he doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to work. But in reality, no, Kaepernick wants to work. He wants to work under fair working conditions and working practices. And now, the other part about Kaepernick is this. I will admit, there have been some things about Kaepernick and his situation that I did not like. This is just me being honest. Some things that I did not like. I did not like that Kaepernick didn't vote. I didn't like that he didn't embrace the public leadership role. That he started a movement about social injustice and he donated, the movement for social injustice. And then he also turned around and sparked so much, like, great things going out in the world, people standing up and being courageous. And then the third thing I didn't like was he never publicly said anything about playing football. Like, we know his interest, and he made that clear through proxies and through other people, but we wanted to hear it from him. Because here's the thing, is that if you allow people to write your story for you, if you allow them to dictate the narrative, they will. Oh, he's been offered contracts. No, he didn't. Oh, he's this. No, he's not. And then but now I want to get to the point about Kaepernick. My question is, I'm still struggling. I'm struggling with the fact that Colin Kaepernick has been torn down by the media and vilified. Not just the media, but by the president and by people out in the world. This is a man who's never been in trouble, didn't commit domestic violence, didn't beat his wife, no DUIs, never been in trouble, and donated over $1 million of his own money after he was unemployed. I mean, really think about that. This man donated his own money, $1 million of his own money, to help not only minority people, to fight for social injustice, and to programs that help improve police and police and community relations. He donated $1 million of his own money and then got other people to step up and donate money to other celebrities. So this is a man that you vilify? That doesn't make sense. Like, I understand where you can disagree fundamentally even on him taking a knee during the national anthem. Regardless of whether you care what the cause is, he maybe should have done it differently according to you or whatever. But demonizing a man who's only tried to improve the community, do the right thing, makes no sense. And this is why I've equated him to Dr. King. This is why I have equated him to Malcolm X. Because these are men who were doing great things out in the world, but are seen as a threat. They're seen as a threat. Only difference is they haven't tried to assassinate Colin Kaepernick. That's the only difference. I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. Then they're trying to tell the man he should go play in the minor leagues. No way. No way. It makes no sense at all. I want to make a big point. You guys, I really want to make a big point, and I hope that you guys feel this. Is that playing football is Colin Kaepernick's freedom. And I heard this from Monique when she was talking about her situation. She was talking about that your gift and your talent are your freedom. Like, that's your freedom of expression. That's your freedom of like out in the world. And people will try to take your freedom and your gift and turn it into what makes them uncomfortable. I'm sorry, and turn it into what makes them comfortable. Think about that. When people try to take your freedom, which is your gift, and turn it into what makes them comfortable, you lose. And your gift, Colin Kaepernick's gift is playing ball, standing up for people, all these things, but they make people uncomfortable. And it's okay that it makes people uncomfortable. It's supposed to. That's what protest is. This is the American way. And then, but to assert that this man is a terrible human being, that doesn't make sense. And sometimes people won't let common sense get in the way of their argument. Despite, and I tell my son this, I talk to my wife about this all the time. You can dislike somebody. You can think somebody is an evil person. However, there is, sometimes they will say some things that are smart, that are intuitive, and they may have principles that work out in the world. I will give you a prime example. Alex Jones. I think Alex Jones is a crackpot. He's obviously he's an act. He's all of these things. I wonder if he truly believes the things that he says, but here are the principles that other talk show hosts, that other people who have owned sites and all of this stuff, they take from people like him, Rush Limbaugh, Howard Stern, all of these things, is the way that they drive traffic, the way that they move the needle, and the way that they excite people. Because if you can turn people into action, if you can get people motivated to do things and motivated with their dollars, then that's how you do it. That makes sense. And that's the same thing with Colin Kaepernick. He has found a way to not only charge up a community, he's found a way to disturb the status quo. And when you can do that, there are dollars attached to it. And when there are dollars attached to it, people want to stop it. People want to shut it down. And if you're Colin Kaepernick, being shut down is the worst possible thing that you can do. You can't let them shut you down. You cannot let them discourage you. And they tried to get him to come beg for a job. They tried to get him to do all that. And that was not smart. And here is what I will say about Colin Kaepernick too. Being the fact that the NFL had to pay him a large sum of money to get this lawsuit to go away, there's no way that they allow him to play again. There's no way. Because if you already colluded against him playing, and then you have to pay him tens and tens of millions of dollars, are you then going to pay him? Are you then going to let the man play? The answer is no. There's zero chance Colin Kaepernick ever plays in the NFL again, I believe. That's just my own personal feelings on it. That's my thoughts on it. And I mean, I haven't seen any evidence to the contrary, because I mean, that would just be senselessness. I mean, that would be doubling down on stupid for the NFL. You could have just signed the man a long time ago, because there was so much money to be gained. There was so much money to be lost by the league for losing this collusion lawsuit. That would have been absolutely foolish of them. And there's no way that they were going to allow that to happen. And they did not, which was good business for them, which was good, smart business for the NFL. Don't let the man, don't end up paying the man way more than you have to. If you guys have any questions, I will get to them, because I was talking about Colin Kaepernick. He withdrew his collusion lawsuit today. The NFL had to pay him so much money, and that the fact is there's no way in hell that the NFL paid this man this much money and he didn't have proof that they colluded. No way. Like, the NFL, these are shrewd billionaires who protect their money at all costs. They protect their interests. So there's no way in hell that they were going to pay Colin Kaepernick to go away like they did without him having proof. I don't know how he got the proof, but he had proof. And now they had to pay up. But Colin Kaepernick, but he's not good enough. Yeah, right. That was a lie too. You guys do not believe the lie. Do not believe the myth. You can't believe everything they tell you. They will sell you shit and tell you it's sugar, and it's not. You guys, thanks you guys for watching the Unafraid Show. We'll be back. Make sure you go to unafraidshow.com. We have a good article up about Colin Kaepernick and this whole situation. And make sure also that you guys share the Unafraid Show. Tell a friend about the Unafraid Show. Peace out. Catch you guys later.